when you put someone up on a pedestal and you're not viewing them with sober eyes, then you can make a lot of mistakes. But with the person that you view and do not put any sort of filter on, just as who they are, then you know exactly what you're getting into.
Hey runners! Welcome to the Runaway podcast. This is an episode from our live session. We talk about wellness and pop culture to find inspiration and a certain level of correlation. Catch us every Friday at 10:30 p.m. PST on Runaway Podcast's Facebook page for you to join the conversation. Let us know what you think of this episode by giving us your 5-star rating and your feedback on our socials. Now, on with the show.
One of the best manufacturer ng laruan ng Avatar is McFarlane. I had that before, kompleto ko silang 4. Although wala si Toph kasi mahirap talaga hanapin si Toph. Si Toph yung sought after. Kasi napaka-konti ng Toph sa market. But ang available talaga si Sokka, si Katara, si Zuko, tsaka si Aang. Remember mo yung sa Calico? Yung kulay green pa sila.
Yeah.
Nandun siya sa sulok, katabi siya lagi nila Spawn, katabi siya lagi nila Batman, basta McFarlane.
Nandun pa. Hindi pa nabibenta. Ang weird.
Retail mo kasi sila magbenta.
Hindi pa nababenta.
Punta
na ako sa Las Piñas.
bukas.
No, magkano tayo? So, pumunta na lang kayo na mag-toy hunting tayo. Po.
Ayun.
Ikaw, Jo, like, do you collect toys, man?
I used to, but like I'm in a condo right now. I'm not in my house, so like I can't show anything.
I get that. Yeah.
The house is being renovated, so
I like the cabinet. really brings out the color of the cabinet.
The cabinet. You think it's full of clothes? It's not. It's full of books.
Yeah.
I'm actually just waiting on the day that you decide to do the Jepoy Dizon monologue. Like, with that background, it would be so good.
Ganyan na ganyan yung itsura ko ng mga final season ko ng online class. Ganyan na ganyan yung setup ko nun. Like,
You have a lot of toys now. My goodness.
Naalala ko nun, may natakot sa akin nata sa live selling, tinanong nila. It says, what's your most valuable or price figure sa bahay? Sabi ko, ayun, nasa kanto. I'm a figure. It's a green joke. It's a green joke. It's not green joke. It's somewhat of a joke. But then again, pag tinatanong nila talaga yung figure, sinasabi ko kasi lagi, hindi ako naka-base sa presyo ng laruan, naka-base ako sa rarity. Tulad nito. Yan. Diba? Ganyan lang siya, ano?
We love Power Rangers.
This is the Japanese version, hindi siya yung US. So, it's somewhat rare. But then again, I'm geeking out. Saan na natin? Wala silang banuts eh. Sayang.
Yeah, I'm like, one day, man, we're gonna have a toy episode with banuts. For sure. Yeah.
Sama natin si Seb. Para mabenta na rin yan. Mag-live selling tayo. So, mag-live. Magkano?
Runaway podcast naging live selling na lang.
HM sis.
Oh my goodness. Natatawa. Every Wednesday basta ang memes ko lagi tungkol kay Ses, live selling niya and all. Oh my goodness. Ayun, so thank you for everyone for joining. Like, we got 3 viewers already. Thank you.
Oh, this is my friend who gave me the print.
Oh, hi. Thank you, Micah. She's the one who gave you?
Mimi gave me this print for my birthday. It's Zutara. That's signed by Dante and May Whitman. They wrote Zutara forever. Both of them did, because they are the co-captains of the Zutara ship. And I love them so much. And this scene where Katara and Zuko are making out is part of the story that I wrote.
I'm low-key fangirling din.
Read the story or listen.
I know that y'all know each other and y'all are friends already, but like, can I have your autograph? Like,
Mapengi rin ako, magpapadala ako sa inyo ng toys. Tapos pakipirmaan. For market purposes. Like, kapag display ko, ito may pirma to nito.
Listen to the show muna.
Kasi,
oh my gosh.
Ano yan eh?
I know what to listen to when I'm doing cardio now.
Because like, I the story of I'm Still Here is kind of a rewrite of book 3 at the very end. And so like there's the big Agni Kai with Azula and Zuko, and then Azula and Katara, and I had to re-record all of that as myself, complete with like the fight scenes and with Azula basically losing her mind. I had to recreate all of that in my shitty little home studio.
Yeah, it's okay.
Sorry to cut you off here, but my girlfriend's is viewing right now. Babe, she writes AO3 fics.
Hi, I'm AO3 author Owedbetter. Hi.
She writes fics. I'm in a podcast with a fanfic writer. I'm legitimately losing my mind. This is so cool. I'm so happy we ran into Jerome completely by accident in Bully Boy.
Yeah, because that's how we met.
I saw that episode. And come on, Jerome, anime. What did you do, bro?
And anime trivia night. That's how we met, Joe. That's how I met Seb. The craziest.
I don't remember most of the night that we met.
Exactly, that was so weird.
You just know it was nighttime.
I just it was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, like we were at the party. We were at the hotel here in Alabang, and we were
at a party with someone I don't talk to anymore.
Oh, I'm so sorry. But he, like, dude, like he had a lot. Oh, thank you, Ina. Thank you. But yeah, we were talking, and then I honestly have no idea why I was so drawn into having a conversation with you, but we talked for hours about books.
Because you met Drunk Me. Drunk Me has zero social anxiety, is super friendly.
Mm-hmm. I think I had like
the drunk you?
eight
This is
Stella
not
of boudoir.
You think this is water?
Juice. It's juice.
Cactus juice. So it's green.
Just straight vodka.
There we go.
Ganun na kasanay yung katawan sa vodka. Like wala nang tirik-tirik, iniinom na lang.
Oh, God.
I mean, I did live in the UK for a while.
Right, you guys, yeah. Beer is water there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! Like,
and they start drinking at like 13.
Oh, no way!
We rather you do it in the house, honey.
So ganda po rin sa Pilipinas, dito mo lang makikita na pinaiinom yung kanon ng
banog.
Yung suka, yung pinakuro yung gindi. It was pure evil. Yung sinabi nila, yung sukang pinakurat, this is spicy gin. Yung sukang pinakurat, yung pinashot. Pagka-shot
yes.
Europeans, with the way that they drink.
Exactly.
I feel it.
I just really want to give another shout out to Micah or Mika. Micah or
me.
Mika. Oh my goodness! Like, thank you. Like, she's flooding the comments because
she's a supportive legend.
Thank you.
She's a supportive queen. She's a bestie.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. So just like what I said earlier, I just really want to have a quick minute to talk about like why I had goosebumps and why I chose Seb specifically and then Jonah specifically for me to talk about Avatar. For the runners, if you haven't seen it yet, but I started putting secret messages in the live posters. I'm not sure if you can see it. So take a look. I don't have the file. Like, I really don't. I'm sorry. But at the very center of Aang, you would see like a circle and then like sun something around him. Do you guys see it?
I'm checking it out now.
All right, cool. Or there's another one. There's another below Aang. There's a small orange symbol that you can see.
Like at the live?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, the small orange symbol. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, the small orange symbol. Right. Thank you, Seb. Thank you. So here's where the secrets come in. I didn't have a chance to talk about this live session because we were fangirling about suits and all. But somehow I'm kind of relating the characters that we're going to talk about into explaining what are chakras. And I'm not talking about Naruto, like, Sasuke, like, ito yung chakra ko, blah, blah, blah. But no, I'm
Yeah, let's go, Sasuke.
yes. Sasuke. So,
Sasuke.
I got goosebumps just for the simple fact that the orange chakra or the sacral chakra is the energy. Okay, is the energy that kinda attributes or that's a little bit similar to happiness. Happiness. And it's usually
Nice.
about accepting change, letting go, and transformation in life. We've been talking only two characters. We got Katara and Zuko, but the way we talk about them, like shit, like dude, it's literally there.
Because they're the best.
Yeah. And this is what's really funny because like we talk about bald Zuko, but one of the
Zuko Grande.
right Zuko Grande, Zuko Grande, one of the signs that will show in your body if your quote unquote sacral chakra is blocked. Non-believer, I'm not imposing my beliefs, just educational people, okay, for educational purposes.
Speak your
You
truth.
would, oh, thank you. You would have anger issues and you will be driven by your fear of losing control over your relationships, which Zuko did in the beginning, and then he eventually regained it back. Yeah.
I love There's so many layers. Like I've watched this show so many times in my life, over and over and over again. That's why I have like such an encyclopedic memory of everything. There's so many things that you can learn about it with every rewatch. There's so much that you like realize when you figure out. Oh, Mimi's also wearing their Fire Nation shirt. Fire Nation.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. So, which
Ingitin ko
kind
si,
of
si Seb. Punisher!
I'm wearing polo. I'm wearing polo.
Represent Old Navy. I don't know.
Funny story, but when I wore this shirt in the UK,
Pride
I was just like
Month.
I was just gay rights. I was just like walking around wearing this shirt,
Yeah.
and like some guys came up to me like, "Hey, what football team is that?"
Oh.
National with the
It's-
Fire Nation.
it says Zuko at the back. Zuko won. So like Fire Nation, it's Avatar, my dudes.
Yes, my goodness. Oh, this now brings me to the main topic of conversation. The reason why I got Jonah and Seb in the podcast, I really want everyone to know, especially the 5 viewers, lalo na din si Ses, tsaka ako, why? I'm gonna bring back the slides. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna bring this slide. Why do you guys think Zutara is a thing?
Because it makes sense. Oh,
There we go. Here we go.
Listen,
Okay, so the floor is
Bestie,
yours.
Bestie.
Go ahead.
I'm AO3 author Owedbetter. I'm literally the third most kudos fic in the Zutara fandom on AO3. Like
We are in the presence of royalty. And I there's not a hint of sarcasm in that. I know that like there will be some people that think I'm being sarcastic about this, but you have no idea how cool this is to me.
I appreciate it so much. It's very nice. It's like I've loved Zutara literally my entire life. I've shipped them literally since I was 11 years old. I was there from the very beginning. I was there during 2009 during the SDCC shitstorm that happened, where Zutara then changed fandoms forever. Thank you, Ariel. Zutara is the best. Like they from a story point narrative, they just make the most sense. They're fire and water. They're yin and yang. Like they both have the parental issues, not exactly mirroring each other, but they can relate to a certain degree. When they became friends, finally, they were the only ones who treated each other with some kind of equal respect. You know what I mean? Like, because with Sokka, Katara is always going to be his little sister. With Toph and Aang, she's always going to be this like older mother figure that they can count on to take care of them and like wash their clothes and give them food and all that, because they're 13 and 12 and like they can't take care of themselves. Zuko is the one who like stepped up and is the only one who like talked to her like she's a person. You know what I mean? Like he's the only one who like really leveled with her on a certain degree, where they would talk about their feelings, they would talk about their past and their emotions, and like he's the only one who like asked about her mom, you know, like. So to that end, like, and how Zuko, like, you know, he worked to get her forgiveness. He didn't like he didn't act like he deserved it. He just did the work because he cared about her opinion, and he didn't want her to hate him. He wasn't like wooing her to get her. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't a prize to be won. She wasn't an object. And whereas on the other side of the spectrum, where Aang put her on this like pedestal, like she's his forever girl. She was the first person that he saw. She makes me happy, you know, all of these different things, and it's all about Aang. You know, never once is it considered in that Aang and Katara narrative about what Katara wants in her life, where she wants someone who's stable, she wants someone who's there, she wants someone who would also take care of her in a sense, because she can't be the one taking care of everybody forever. You know what I mean? And so they, to a certain degree, they're pretty much equals in a sense, because he's a prince, her dad is the chief, which in the hierarchy of things of how I'm equating it, which makes her a kind of princess to a degree. You know what I mean? I don't know, but they're like, Dante Bosco literally had a line in the show where he's like, you rise with the moon, I rise with the sun," which like it woke something in me.
That's right, American. Don't hide that dragon.
Yes,
that was in season, right?
Right, like, from the very beginning, they have had like this journey side by side together, even if they didn't really realize it. Where Zuko was kind of in his like beginner phase, and Katara literally didn't know how to move water around, didn't know how to make a wave, and then they became masters in their own right. They became their own separate people, and if you join them together, they are complete without each other. But they like complement each other so well. Like, there are some people who say that like, oh, Zuko would be too angry and they would like fight all the time. Like, have you seen them beyond book 1? Did you watch the show? Like, for real? Because like after this particular scene, after this hug, after the Southern Raiders, she tells him that she forgives him. You know what I mean? And it's not Zuko's fault that his dad and his nation burnt everything to the ground. He's a 16-year-old kid. He wasn't part of any of that. And he was actively working to pay for the crimes of his father, of his whole family afterward. So it makes no sense to me, the argument that they would like fight all the time, because like he has a relationship where they fight all the time in the show, and y'all like that shit.
That is true. That is actually
I have
true.
so much to say.
Replenish.
Kasi totoo naman, ang masasabi ko na lang din sa love team nila, yan yung literal na Magnus Haven. Kung alam
They
niyo
wrote
yung
the
reference
book
niya.
on Red and Blue, enemies to lovers. They invented it.
Ang ano yan tawag dito, yan yung Magnus Haven sa Reddit thread. Kung sa mga nanonood, ano yung Magnus Haven na yan? Sila yung pinagtagpo pero hindi tinadhana.
There are some fan theories that they are that couple reborn. Someone in the comments remind me who those people are from the Earth Kingdom. Yeah, they did. They did invent ship weeks. You know what I mean? You know when oh, it escapes me. I shouldn't have drank. It's fine.
Hi, Drunk Joe.
You got this, Queen. You got this, Queen.
It's okay. Jin?
No.
It isn't Jin.
No. It's the couple when they were in the caves together and Aang and Katara like had to kiss in the dark. But there's a story that there's this
Oh
like
yeah.
old couple that would like had to meet Omashu. There you go.
Oh my god.
Where they are Oma and Shu reborn. Kind of. There's a fan theory that goes around, and it's very widely accepted in Zutara circles that they're there. They re-met again. Reincarnation. There's so many AUs. Shout out to Zutara Opium.
I'm getting goosebumps again. Oh my goodness.
Because they just make the most narrative sense, you know. Like and Aaron Ahaz is a strong believer of Zutara. Everyone was rooting for Zutara except Bright, who are Mike and Brian.
Mm.
And it always like sparks up. It always is. She's like, you know, Zutara is that girl when official accounts need a little bit of engagement for their social media profiles. They just tweet about Zutara. Then they watch the comments flood in and they get that sweet engagement. Because no matter what you say, no matter what you do, Zutara is going to be that girl. Zutara is going to be the one that's going to be talked about.
Or if you want to be hated by the community, just say something negative about Zutara.
No, because the people who make the most noise about Zutara are the people who hate it.
Right. Oh, I remember now, Jonah. There were two people in the party that we met. They were talking about how Aang and Katara were perfect for each other. And then you stepped in, you talk about no, and then I backed you up. And then I was like, oh shit, we're the same. And then
Is this why we're friends?
yes. Oh my god. Okay. It was after all the games and stuff, and I was just beginning to drink.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Wala lang. Ngayon ko lang din napapaisip, like, shift natin konti yung topic. If let's say, for example, Zutara really became the ideal couple in the story or the timeline. Supposedly, sinong makakatuluyan ni?
Tough.
Ni Aang.
Tough.
All right. Here's the
Here we go.
Here's the fact that I'm gonna put up to you. Why does he need someone to end up with? Like, why is that necessary?
Random cliche.
You stated it yourself. It's a random cliche. It's a cliche. It's
Therapy.
something that doesn't need to happen, right? And that's it. Like really, it doesn't need to happen.
It's like ano yun, parang ano lang. Kaya ako na talaga sinabi.
Aang needs some. I know what Aang needs. Aang needs someone to adopt him.
He's already got Appa. Like
he's got Momo.
He's got Appa. He's got Momo. He's already like he's got all he needs, right? Like I believe that Aang could have lasted in the show happily single, or just meet someone random down the line.
I think he was 12. I think he would have gotten over his crush not liking him back.
Yeah. No, and like that's also the thing. Like they are in their early teens. Most of them are, at least, right? Aang is at that age where I believe he didn't really have to think about that too much. Like, sure, like his hormones might have been taking over and like making him not think that clearly. But
Aang and Anji were cute though.
I gotta go with
Aang and who?
Okay, here we go. Aang and
Anji. The girl with the bangs when Aang went to school that one time.
Oh.
Right. Yeah.
She was cute.
But like what I will say about Zutara and for future reference, my guy, I am not the guy to speak after Jonah. Like I shouldn't like the order of this No. I'm telling Jerome this for future reference. Whoever's the biggest expert should always speak last because they'll have the most to say. Like, get rid of the guys who will like have things to say but nowhere at the level of what Jonah said. Though I
also write for a living, so words are my whole thing.
Actually, pwede na i-content kasi sinabi ni Jonah.
Dude, like she's the primary content snippet of everything.
No, it's actually the ano. Kasi I've met a lot of experts in in the past 5 years or no, yeah, 5 years kasi dun talaga na ano yung hobby from the toys, from the animes. I even met someone na talagang really in-depth sa wrestling, in which nagtataka ako, bakit ka in-depth sa wrestling? Fan ano yan eh. Parang ang weird kasi ginagawa yan on the spot. Pero, moving forward, this is one of those feelings na parang ang saya niya kakwentuhan kasi there's a specific topic that you were a fan of and then you met an expert na talagang naglaan ng oras para lang anuhin ko.
Yeah.
And then, parang minsan talaga in the seriousness of the topic, gusto ko magbato ng mga curveballs like what if what if hindi what if pala what if nagkatuluyan si Zatara tapos sabay sobrang broken hearted si Ang tapos naging
He's
evil
called,
si
he'll
Ang.
get over it.
Right.
Hindi,
No,
what if
'cause
naging
like,
evil? Di ba mo?
because like the thing about this is like, the way we write these things, the way like if you would argue that Avatar is a shonen anime, which that's still up in the air for a lot of people. They don't know whether they call it a shonen anime. They also don't know whether they call it an anime. For all the innovation and for all the things that that Avatar touched on first, I think one of the things that they could have touched on was romance doesn't have to be something that matters so much to the main protagonist. Because it happens a lot. Especially when that main protagonist is 12 and like what 14 maybe by the end of it, if you're gonna
He's still 12. No, this happens over a summer.
Which just tells you that, like, sometimes D&D campaigns can go on for a while and you think more time passed, but not really. But yes, I don't think it should have been that important to Aang at all, and everything that happened between Katara and Aang felt forced and felt like they just had to give Aang something. But I am a Zatara fan on a lot of different levels because I'll come from a different fandom to relate to this.
A Zatara fan who hasn't read I'm Still Here?
I'm nowhere near you. One day maybe I will. But in the time that we were all cooped up in our homes, I decided, hey, I used to be an anti-anime fan. I will get into anime now because all of my friends have given up on the idea of me doing it. So I got into it, and the second thing I watched was My Hero Academia. And
Rue. Hi, Rue.
If there are people in the comment section who are against certain things in My Hero Academia, I'm about to light a fire up your ass. I think that the best ship in My Hero Academia is actually between Bakugo and Ochako Uraraka.
You're in the right. You're in the correct company.
Yep.
All right,
you're in the right place, man.
You're in the correct company.
We're good.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I know my friends.
I say this within the context of it relating to MHA, relating to hell yeah, I am in the right place right now. I'm in the right company for sure.
They run Kachako events, man.
Oh shit! I think we're in the same group chat on Twitter.
PM, message them right now.
Oh man, if only I wasn't so broke to buy the Kachako Forever stuff. No, I exposed myself too much. Now everyone's gonna know it's on the internet now. Shit. I watched the sports festival, and a lot of people are gonna use the sports festival as the fucking basis for why the ship happened. But I applied to my own life. I applied to what I think love should be in the most functional manner that I've seen it be manifested. Because Zuko and Katara completely aware of each other's flaws. Like, even if you take their own social status away and all their parallels, all of the places where they don't coincide, that is already on the table. And I think that is really important for a mature, functional relationship that is not romanticized to the point of it not being realistic. Because Um, I um I have gone through, as most people do, I've gone through relationships in my life. And I know the growth that I had to go through before I was in a healthy, functional relationship. And that
Love
was
that for
with a
you.
person who, when I met her, we hated each other, kind of. We were not friends. It took us 8 years to like discover that like the way we viewed each other was kind of wrong. We ended up together at the end. And the thing with this parallel with the Zutara ship is when two people view themselves at eye level, when people can view each other as equals, no pedestals, because that can always exist for someone. Um, this was something that I was taught in like my terrible conservative Christian school. Love is not felt; it is chosen. It's a conscious decision, and when your sober mind can look at the person in front of you and think that um this person is right for me because this person can be the one to call me on my shit. This person is the one that knows I'm not perfect, and this person, when we argue, we will do actual work and discourse towards solving a problem. That to me is what makes a good couple. When Bakugo went all out and nearly killed Ochako Uraraka in the sports festival, and everyone said, "Why you beating on the lady? She a lady. Look at her. She likes the color pink." Like, and Aizawa was like, "Yo, if you're a pro hero, you should look for a new job." And everyone was like, "Why do you sound like that?" Um, Aizawa was the only person to see that the reason Bakugo did this is because he knows the capability of the person in front of him. And if he doesn't go all out, he will get his ass handed to him. Because despite the fact that the image of Bakugo is this guy so hilariously angry that they think that he's in the hero school just to get training so that he can become the best villain, Bakugo is calculated. He's controlled. And he knows what he needs to do to get to point Z. And he doesn't care if popularity is a factor, right? And it was at this point where I was like, that works. Like, if these two get together, this is exactly like my image of what a good, a good relationship should be between two people. And with Zutara, there will never be a time that Katara looks at Aang and isn't like, there's a couple things I still need to teach him. You know, like with let's say the Uraraka thing, like she likes Deku. There is this image in her head of what Deku is. That is the first red flag there. Because when you put someone up on a pedestal and you're not viewing them with sober eyes, then you can make a lot of mistakes. But with the person that you view and do not put any sort of filter on, just as who they are, then you know exactly what you're getting into. And that is Zutara. They have fought enough times. They have hated each other. They have become friends. And
He never
they have
hated her
gotten to the point where like whatever feelings were there, it is not in some kind of guise. It's not because she looks up to him so much, or it's not because she knight in shining armored her. Like this trope of the knight in shining armor is to me the most one of the most like condescending tropes to ever exist in these genres of shows. Because if you are to have a partner, and by definition partner, I'm not saying girlfriend, I'm not saying boyfriend, right? If you were to have a partner, by definition a partner has to be able to supplement for the things you don't have strengths in. Like, I'm not saying that like she completes you. You said it a while ago. Like, Zuko and Katara complete people. And the idea that like people need to have like their incomplete halves filled by another, complete bullshit.
preaching
complete
to the
bullshit.
choir, but
Because if you are not the complete person by the time you decide to get into a serious relationship, that shit ain't gonna last. And
so
these
true.
two people, these two people, Katara Zuko, they have gone through enough to know exactly who they are. They have suffered enough and they have accomplished enough and have matured enough that if they were to decide that, they want to get together, then those are people who are ready for that. I have seen so many people, and like I am telling you, within the past 2 years, who tried to fill the voids in their lives with a girl or a boy. That shit doesn't exist. That shit doesn't exist at all. Do not fill your voids. Do not think that there's a person in this world that can. And this is why I feel strongly about this, because it's so valuable, and it's not just valuable to yourself. It's valuable to whoever comes into your life, because if you don't know who you are and you have a certain fear towards that person, and I understand that the journey towards discovering yourself is scary, but if you don't do that, you have no idea who you could hurt, and it could be really bad. It could be really bad because our insecurities are fucking cesspool. Like you can be the best human being to someone and completely be the opposite when it comes to love. I've seen the most decent of dudes turn into complete scumbags once they find the girl who's caught their attention enough. Like it's really, really bad, and it's disheartening because it's a weakness of character you don't see anywhere else. Like it's to me, Zatara, Kachako, these things are not they're not just ships for a fandom to fawn over. It tells a lot about the people that like it. It also tells a lot about what like these people would want, hypothetically, realistically, or what they already have. And if you could see that these people are the types of people that usually don't see things at surface level. These people are the people who have seen enough to know what the intrinsic value in a human being is, to know what the intrinsic value in love is. And in entertainment, it's often manifested through these characters. And the problem with the idea of people thinking that Ong and Katara should be a thing. I'm actually attacking you guys. Go ahead and say it's not Aang. It's not Ong. It's Aang. These people are the people who have never, who usually look at a narrative on surface level and don't really care about what happens after. And it's really important for us to go the route of like seeing what is in front of you and what really would work in a hypothetical situation. Like Zuko was the most developed and the most mature of all of them at the time, and I think that Aang could have really afforded with no romantic ties whatsoever. You could have done it like maybe in the comics or maybe somewhere else, but he was 12. He didn't need to think about that shit. Like 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds were right around the age where we've gone through like a little bit and maybe could like dabble in that. But Aang was so clearly a child. Aang was so clearly a child who matured really quick because he only had 3 seasons. But Zuko and Katara were legitimately complete people. And Aang felt like he was rewarded something at the end of Avatar by getting Katara. And that's an issue. That's an issue because Katara, for all her value as a character, was cheapened by the fact that she was written to be with Aang because they probably decided in season 1 that it should happen.
You have seen Aang look like when he's an adult, right? And you've seen pictures of Bryke.
Who's Bryke?
Mike and Brian Konietzko. Mike DiMartino and Brian Konietzko. Look at their photos and look at Aang as a grown-up. And you'll see why Aang ended up with Katara.
Wait.
Oh shit! Okay. Writer's perspective. Kumbaga sa Final Fantasy.
Oh.
It was yung later hindi siya meant to be.
It was self-insert. It was a self-insert of a happy ending of they wish they get the girl for some reason.
It was predestined na. Ayan. That's
No,
the proper term for me.
But like this adds to this. Why is that so important? Like even if it was a self-insert, like this just tells you the immaturity of so many men that they think they're incomplete until they've had that thing.
Oh, you were my new best friend.
Well,
hell yeah, bringing people together.
It really. Look, I say this very clearly, as like I want to make this clear. I'm not the fucking white knight. Like I am not the simp for no motherfucker. I have been an asshole all my life, and I do not have alt accounts. I do not do IG stories for close friends only. Everything that I choose to put out there is put out there for everyone to see. Right? I to sum up, I really don't. No, it's completely fine. It's completely fine. This is just me saying that I am a person who puts myself out there to a fucking fault. Okay. I don't care. We stand in this. Look.
Go ahead.
I have a sister. I have a mother, both of whom very strong people who've gone through things I could not possibly understand, no matter how much empathy I threw in that direction, right? But it's important for characters to be rewarded naturally and to be treated as people. And I will not have the creators of Avatar's names memorized. This is not my realm. I only know enough to be here. All right, Mike. Reich.
Brian and Mike.
All right, Brian and Mike. It's really okay for us guys not to end up with a girl. It's okay for us not to end up with the girl during the most important story arc of our entire lives. It is not important for us to ever end up with the girl ever. One of the most beautiful things that's demonstrated in only parts of media that are very niche, like Critical Role, and if you guys haven't seen it, The Legend of Vox Machina, and if my girlfriend is still watching, sorry, I'm also preaching about Vox here. There are characters that never end up with anybody. Huge fan bases, might I add. Massive fan bases. But they don't end up with anyone romantically, but their arcs feel complete. Let's say with Deku. If My Hero Academia ends and God, Horikoshi, really, the fight is lasting long enough, Bakugo's been dead for a year. Deku, by the end of this, I don't see a need for a romantic partner at all. I don't see a need for a romantic partner for Aang. It's okay for a guy to be single. It's okay for us to feel a sense of accomplishment without having a girlfriend. It's not that important. Romance is an aspect of life, not something you need to complete your identity.
Yes, King.
Wait.
Yes, King.
God, I feel like we need to do a things you should know about the boys part.
I understand. And I complete for some of the points that he said, it was really on point. That is perfectly clear. And again, just to at least reiterate what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, when I asked na kung sino man yung makakatuluyan ni Ang, ito ganyan, it's because of the fan base. Again, I understand that there's a lot of you, Zutara, there's a lot of you there's a lot of us, whether you're a hardcore fan or whether you're just starting fan. The storyline itself, unfortunately, will always be revolving on the storyline that is shown on TV. That's the reality, right? Mm-hmm. And I understand your point, Joe and Seb. I really do understand that. And ako nga sabi ko nga sa sarili ko, hindi bagay si Katara kaya. honestly speaking, hindi sila bagay. Mas pipiliin ko pa si Topos, mas pipiliin ko pa yung bata na nakasalubong na kumakain ng doon na hindi neprito, na nagustuhan siya dun sa island na yun. Mas gusto ko siya kay Ang kasi nagkakasundo sila. Di ba may bata doon na parang natuwa siya kasi kinakain ni Ang yung hindi naprito na to. Something to that extent. But I think I think that's one of the good points na sinabi ni Seb. Kasi nga, though again, it's good for you to be, or at least hindi naman, it's not that it's good for you to be single, but it's okay. That's the proper term. It's okay for you to single. It's okay for you to single. Bye baby. It's okay for you to be single. But then again kasi, there is this factor. And this is happening in reality as well. Na whether we like it or not, we would always want an opposite sex. Correct me if I'm wrong.
There are asexual and romantic people.
All right.
There will always
there are
be
some people
someone
who don't
of the
need
opposite
to.
sex. Yeah, I understand your point, John.
Some of us aren't straight.
I understand. But in a very traditional, kasi old school ako. Sa ano ko is, there will always be someone that you're gonna be looking forward to at least see na you've accomplished something. And
that, I do get that. But look at it like this. If we teach, and like we've said, this show was fucking for 8-year-olds to 11-year-olds. We're going for that demographic, right?
Yeah.
This is for young children.
Ladies.
Do we really want to teach a full generation of young men that the feeling of completeness is to have the partner? Is to like, I think we should actually
patriarchal centric ideal.
Yeah. And the addition is all well and good, and I get that. And your question, I took no offense to it at all, just so you know. It's just a factor to discuss. Like, if we are gonna start a generation of young men out who will go into their teenage years soon, if these are like co-ed kids or whatever, we do have to teach this generation of men that we can take time in our lives to mature, that the most memorable years of our lives won't necessarily contain that package that you've always seen. And I'm not saying Aang never has to be with anyone. I'm just saying that Katara was not it. I don't think they wrote the right person for Aang in the show. And if the show revolves around Aang, then it can revolve around Aang defeating Fire Lord Ozai. Because if it revolves around Aang defeating Fire Lord Ozai, and Katara can go off and have her romance with Zuko, and Sokka with the moon or Suki.
The moon. Praise the moon.
We will always have the point in time where Aang defeated Ozai. And Aang can live his life and find a lady. It doesn't have to be Katara.
Okay.
But the thing is, you also say, like, we're working with what's in the show. The moments we are actually talking about are in the show, for the most part. And there's enough on the show, like, even me as a die-hard Kachako fan, right? You could argue that there's not enough in the show to say that those two should be together. But there's a lot more in Avatar to say that Zuko and Katara should be together. I just think that, like, if we are children viewing every single show as we look at the main protagonist first, I think it would have helped a lot of kids for Aang to not end up with anybody. Because at least by the end of Avatar, they're not rushing to have a girlfriend at 13. They're not rushing to figure themselves out when they're completely not ready. It's fine for you to want that, but it's also not fine for you to be, like, pining for it, rushing for it, because every other show told you should. Because that's really hard. Like, we've been talking about a lot of feminist issues here, but how about let's go to men, right? Let's go to the factor of men, because
men's issues are feminist issues. Men are also a victim of the patriarchy.
yeah, but simply for the reason that, like, the label of feminism is what it is. Feminism. It doesn't have our pronoun in it. Yeah, it is equality. But if we are talking about the guys who don't want that word in there, we are actually, as a species of human beings, we are very insecure at heart. We are pining for the same tenderness, the love, the affection, the places where we can be vulnerable. And we don't have a lot of places that tell us that's okay. We don't have a lot of places that tell us that we can find a complete version of ourselves without another person.
Mm-hmm.
And that definitely had an effect on me as a kid. And not that I ever became a creeper to any girl. I'd like to think I wasn't. If I was, then here's my apology on the internet out there for everyone to see. But I just think Avatar could have pulled the trigger on something that not a lot of people did. And that would just further how great the series could have been. It's not just that we lacked the season 4, it's also that we kind of diminished the value of Katara's character by making her Aang's trophy. Which is not, I'm sure Aang wouldn't be the type to treat her as such, but that's, I'm sure, how it translated to viewers. Like, we don't have to put malice on Aang the character, but I'm sure it translated to a lot of viewers as, I am the main character, therefore I must get the girl if I set my sights on her. And that's not
love. I'm still here.
And that's not good. I'm just saying this because I would have loved to be more secure with myself at that age. I would have loved to not have to think about that. Like the things that made me feel so alone. And that the only way to not feel alone is to have a girlfriend. There is value in it with your friends. There is value in the love that you get that isn't romantic. And there is also an intimacy that you can have with your platonic friends that, you could translate into your future partner, but like it doesn't have to be isolated to
Bye,
that.
Micah. Bye, Micah.
Bye, Micah. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, oh yeah, thank you, Micah. She also did just send me a friend request. Sorry, I was about to message her.
But
Avatar Kyoshi. So
siguro just to refresh everyone.
Yeah.
Again, sa mga nanonood, this is what healthy debate is like. Kasi ako, again, this is the conforming of reality, is that I'm a traditional type of guy, and then these two folks who are very wonderful have their own sides to at least a different area of perspective. Kasi ako, tulad yung sinabi ko, old school ako. I believe in very old school things. Kasi that worked for me. Right? So, what worked for me, maybe kapag nag-transition ako sa ibang ganito, hindi mag-work. So, that's why I stuck to something that works for me. Diba? Ganun naman yan. But then again, we have Seb, we have Joe, who really did their adventure throughout. And I want to commend you guys kasi nga, it's been a while na nagkaroon kami ng ganitong debate. Hindi naman debate. It's more of a healthy conversation. Kahit hindi nagsasalita si Jerome kasi tingin natin si Seb. I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding.
Okay,
I'm reading comments too. Sorry. I'm answering stuff too. Sorry,
this is one of those episodes wherein I feel lucky that I was able to meet you guys. I mean, I hope to meet you soon. To be honest. Siguro usap tayo outside.
Tomorrow na agad.
Usap tayo. Sa toy ko na. Ano tawag dito? Siguro pagdating sa story ang Avatar, I'm more of a story inclined rather than those, branching out what ifs. Di ba? Kasi ganun din naman ako sa Final Fantasy. But speaking with Joe, and with the enlightenment of paring Seb, really, really made me wonder, what if nga, no? What if, alam mo, hindi ko naisip yun up until kanina. Kung hindi nakatuluyan ni si Katara. Kaya ako traditional ako kasi ako mainstream romantic flick yung mga ganun. Nakatuloy niya siguro yung batang nagbibigay ng glow na hilaw dun sa isang isla somewhere. 'Di ba? Parang nakakatawang and for that I would like to thank you guys for your insight. Sobrang solid. I never thought Avatar could this be in depth. I mean,
there's actually another layer that I've been waiting. I've been really wanting to talk about because in defense of Aang, kasi when he enters the story, he is a 12-year-old boy who was frozen in time for 100 years, and when he wakes up, everyone he knew was dead.
Yeah.
Everyone who took care of him, everyone he loved, dead. He had all his home ransacked, and he found out about the genocide, and he found out he bore the weight of being the last airbender. He bore the responsibility that it took. He wasn't so he put all of this love, because remember how in like the recent uptick of like stories centering around grief, like in WandaVision, where what is grief if not love persevering, right? Aang had all of this love to give, and in Fleabag's words, he didn't know where to put it. So he projects all of that love, all of that affection, all of that want and desire and hurt and pain. He puts all of it on Katara and Sokka specifically, because they were the first two who took care of him. They are the first two. They are the first two who like reminded him of his family. They were the only ones who felt safe enough, because again, he is a 12-year-old boy who has to deal with all of this grief. So he translated that mistakenly as some kind of romantic love, because that was how he was taught 100 years ago. And he's looking for a place to call home. He's not looking to Katara because he wants a girlfriend. He's looking to Katara because he wants a family. He wants what he had back home with all of his friends when they were playing like this little airball game, when they were throwing cakes at each other. He's looking for that. That's what he wanted. And because this was written by straight white men, that automatically translated into a romantic story, when in reality Aang needed a family. Aang needed that support system, and he found one. He found one all on his own. It's little and broken, still good.
It all goes back to Lilo and Stitch.
And that's why I think that Korra specifically was like such a disservice to Aang, because it painted him as this terrible father to his other two kids who weren't airbenders. And you're telling me that this little group of friends, this little family, never talked again and just like sucked as parents and didn't like beat each other up for being terrible parents? That's incorrect.
They Last Jedi. You're right.
Like they made a family with each other, with that kind of friendship that forged from war, from suffering, from all of these shared experiences. They would have been friends for life.
Yes.
So it makes no sense. So Aang like projecting all of this stuff in his life that was missing at Katara, and then like mistranslating that into a kind of love. That's why whenever he would like try and make a move on Katara romantically, Katara never reciprocated. Never. Like when he tried to kiss her, and Katara was like, I was confused. Don't. And he was just like, but I'm the Avatar. You're my forever girl.
Right.
But Hermione, I'm the chosen one.
because he's a child. He thinks of his life as a fairy tale where he's the hero, and he kind of is. But him being rewarded in the end with this image of what he thinks he should have, and he never once thinks of what she should have. Like, what kind of support can this 12-year-old grieving little boy give to this other grieving little girl
Right.
who has taken over this kind of mother role, because there's an imbalance there, because she's never going to not think of Aang as this broken little child who needs somebody. Like whenever he was going Avatar state, when Appa was lost, when he saw the destruction of his home temple, and Katara was the one who had to calm him down and to bring him back. There's an imbalance there, because now Katara would also have to like make sure that he doesn't go there. There's always going to be part of her that's constantly taking care of him, and it would never come back in the same way, because Aang wouldn't know how to do that. He doesn't have the tools necessary. And if they were like together from the very beginning, he would never develop the tools necessary to be a good partner, because that's what a romantic relationship should be. It's not like two people like in a codependent relationship or anything. It's a partnership. It's leaning on each other. It's lifting each other up. It's not about I can't walk without you. It's thank you for helping me carry my load. And Aang can't carry her load. And another thing is that Aang is a nomad. He's all about traveling and he's all about about philosophies and learning and discovering new people and all of that. Katara wants to go home. Like there are certain characters who want to stay and build, and this is a line from my story that peace is not something you win once and it stays that way forever. Peace is something you build. And you can't do that by just like jet setting everywhere you want to go and like leaving responsibility behind. It's not going to work like that. And Katara, if she were to have ended up with Aang, if she were, would be reduced to this kind of Avatar's wife, this Avatar's girl thing, and she would never have her own agency to discover what she wanted to do, which is a kind of person, because Katara would never do what Aang did. Katara would never. Her whole shtick is that Katara would never ever turn her back on people who needed her, and that's exactly what Aang did. Because he was afraid, because that's his character. You see the mismatch in philosophies here,
right?
There's also that. So, and that's another reason why I was so quick to say that Toph would be a decent
match.
partner for Aang, because she doesn't take his shit either. She keeps him grounded, and he lets her be free. You know what I mean? Like she has wanted out of her parents' hold of this little fragile blind girl shtick forever. And Aang and Sokka were the first male figures in her life to treat her with any kind of modicum of respect. Whoever treated her like a person as well. So that's why I that once they mature enough, they could be they would make good partners, roaming the world together, because Toph would never be a cop.
Yep. Never.
Would never be a cop. It makes no sense. Toph would never be a bad mom who's a cop.
If we do bypass the romance aspect, though, all of the ship shit, let's just go by this very dry philosophy of booking, because I come from the world of professional wrestling from back in my youth. I know how this works. I know what goes into the philosophy of what booking an arc is.
Shout out to Manila Wrestling Federation. Sorry, love them. love them so much. Go ahead, man.
If you are to book all of their different arcs, it should be from a point where they start out somewhere and they end up at a better place. Katara was not better with Aang. It did nothing to enhance the character. That's all I'm saying. If we're just running by the fact that everyone gets to have their push to the stratosphere, the only one that didn't get it was her, because she had to be the Avatar's girlfriend.
And then, of course, she never got a statue.
Yeah. Zuko got to be the Fire Lord. Aang was the Avatar. Toph was...
Toph.
Toph was tough, bro. Like
A metal bending pioneer.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Toph
Toph was the
big
world
dog of
heavyweight
big
champion.
dogs. Toph doesn't have to be the Avatar to be the most powerful creature in the world. Like
So true.
they took away her eyesight so that they could balance her. Like I'm sure they did that because God could not make her that powerful because this couldn't be Toph's story. If it was
Mhm.
Toph's story, there would be no other characters. She'd just be taking over the world on her
Hell
own.
yeah.
So what I'm saying here is like Toph gets to have her relatively static character arc.
Mm-mm.
Zuko gets to have his full transformation character arc. We get Aang's main hero arc. And
Mm-mm.
Katara was getting the strong female lead up until the end. Like it plateaus. And why is it that she was the only one to do that? She was the only one to plateau within the overarching story of Avatar. And in a show where almost no one was compromised, it's so easy to notice that Katara was.
What?
The creators hated Zutara.
Mm-hmm.
They very loudly hated it.
Yep.
Are you guys familiar with the incident of SDCC 2009?
No.
Oh, I haven't. No.
T,
Can you please,
spill it,
please,
sis.
please, please,
course.
please? Okay.
In San Diego Comic-Con 2009, Bright held a panel and they kind of showed something called Book 4 Forbidden Love. And it was all about how they thought that if Zutara got together, it would be an abusive relationship. And the way that they told that story was through fan art made by little kids of Zutara. And during that whole panel, they were like making fun of it and seeing like, oh, this is because this is what would happen if Zutara got together, and all of these kids who like Zutara would grow up to never have like a healthy relationship. And people went insane because what the fuck, right? So in 2009, that was also when Zutara fans got together and they started the very first ever ship week for any ship
Oh.
ever. They started
Mhm.
the phenomenon of an entire celebration of the ship, and everything just kind of caught on. You can Google that. Zutara started ship weeks
That's
in
amazing.
2009. That's why like I can't be baited into ship wars anymore. I'm just like I've heard literally all of it.
Uh-huh.
Relax.
I mean,
Relax.
it's that is also something I've very much experienced in the ship
Mm-mm.
fandom of MHA. Mainly anyone who does not like Bakugo with Uraraka. They have
Yeah.
made the argument so many times if he would beat
My
her up.
besties are Kachako, so I know all the tea without watching the show.
They have,
Hey!
dude. There was a fan comic made of Uraraka being like full on 50s wife beater situation as Bakugo's wife. Like she had bruises on her face. He was wearing a white stained tank top. All of the whole shit, right? And the thing is, like, I don't know why the hostility is that deep towards any of this. Like, the only character in MH8 to have almost killed anybody is Ida. Just saying. Like, Bakugo's got a lot of bark, but he's never really executed. And you know, it sucks that like some people would go that far, and to know that the Avatar creators themselves were the ones who went that route is really sad. You really disappointed me here, nerd Bill Goldberg. Like, dude, you created a show. Like, I also think this was like a weird route to go if you're the creator of a show. Like, one thing that Horikoshi does in MHA is that he kind of lets all of this shit fly. Like, whether it's with Momo and Jiro, like Uraraka and fucking Toga. Like, these things are things that never happened, that probably will never happen. But like, if you are the first one to like shoot the opinion of a certain part of the fandom down just to like fulfill your own agenda, it comes off really weird. it comes off really weird and almost like you hate money. Like don't you want your fandom to like come up with their own ideas of what would have been good in this world? Because it keeps them coming back. Don't J.K. Rowling yourself. Like, don't paint yourself into a corner. And it kind of just tells you how rooted this is in what you say, the self-insert of Aang. Like, uh, dude, like you're making millions off of this. This is your life's work. You can have people like work it in their heads however you want. It doesn't change what you already did. Like, even if we don't agree, even if we make this argument fucking forever, Qatar and Aang still end up together, whether we want it or not. It's just really weird that they decided that they had to do that. Yeah,
It's
I've
another
never
reason
seen someone
why
punched down so hard.
Katara. It's another reason why Katara and Zuko never really talk in Legend of Korra or in the comics. They're so like antagonistic towards each other, despite them having the closest relationship by the end.
Mm-mm.
It's to keep them away because Bright are so they hate Zutara so much that they will literally ruin their canon already established friendship.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm looking at you, Bones. All the shit you did in season 6. I'm
Oh
looking
my
at you.
God.
I saw what you did. I saw what you wrote
Mhm.
out.
Right.
I'm watching you.
But I have this like interesting thought. Sorry, I'm still gathering my thoughts. We did say a lot about the the demographics of the show, right? 8 to 11 years old. Just so happens that I was in grade 6 when I watched it. And truth be told, man, you're right. Like when the show ended, when they had that massive marathon on Nickelodeon, all we ever talk about as guys was, "Uy, hala si Ang tsaka si Katara sila na. Oh my god." Then we never really dove into like the fucking Battle of Agni Kai, yung arc ni Sokka with the meteor, right? And we never really talk about
Space
it.
Sword.
Like, right. Oh, thank you, thank you. So it kind of sent like a wrong message to me personally. Okay, I have to admit this. I'm sorry, like who's ever watching, even if my girl is watching. But at the time, I really felt like I was Aang. Sure, not spiritual, but I needed someone who will complete me because that was the show's ending. Diba? So I keep on coming back to this thought. I'm pretty sure you guys remember this episode, and this is why I chose Avatar. Then, do you guys remember the chakra part of the show?
Yes.
With
Yeah,
Guru
right. We
Prasad.
got like, the chakra part. Like Ang was doing so well. It's well established in previous episodes that he has a strong connection with the spiritual world because he's the Avatar by default. Para siyang to Spider-Man if you got powers and then you never really work out. But you choose to work out to get, Miguel O'Hara body. Ganon. Sorry. I'm still not over the Spider-Verse. So what I find fascinating is when we talk about the picture of adult them, the show, the demographics, the what ifs, and the hate towards Zutara, that inconsistency, kasi they kind of messed it up dun sa Chakra episode when Aang couldn't really let go of Katara. Wherein, sinasabi lang ng spiritual teacher niya na you must let go. Just, that mindset, it is what it is. Whatever happens to Katara, it is what it is. Yun lang naman yung hinihingi niya as a spiritual teacher. But Aang couldn't let go. And book 3 comes, and that photo, Aang is super clingy to Katara. I was like, shit. So Aang didn't really let go. So fuck. Ayun. Yun
For
lang.
George Lucas, for the bumbling idiot this man is,
Mm.
for all his PowerPoint transitions, right? He was yeah, yeah. Fuck. I hate Star Wars movies so much for all the idiocy.
It's okay.
But he was able to do this with Luke.
Mm-hmm.
He did it with Luke. Like,
Right?
sure, it was in the weirdest way possible. Like, I have kissed my sister on the lips at least twice before finding out she was my sister. Like, This is the man with we all put in the pedestal as like the god of sci-fi, right? And this is also like it's what I would call, like, as a former wrestling fan, like a Vince McMahonism. Like, you decided that this guy's the main character, so main character has to have everything.
Right.
Yeah, and it's the reason why you will never see a happy wrestling fan. Because when you decide that you want your company carried or your brand carried by one guy as the leader of the company, it doesn't matter what other stories you could tell. It doesn't matter that you have a revolving door of people. It doesn't matter that Sami Zayn is right there. It doesn't matter that Kevin Owens is in the right spot. You will always dump it back to fucking Roman. And when this is your thought process with your product, like the creators of Avatar, you're throwing away money. Because you can circle it back to your guy. Like, Avatar will always circle back to Aang. No matter what direction. Zutara, I don't give a shit. I don't, like, Zuko with fucking Toph, that could have fucking happened, right? Like, no matter what, Aang will always be there and it will circle back to Aang. And when you Vince McMahon your way into booking that Aang has to have everything, then it discounts the value of the other characters. You can't just put your story, you can't paint your story into the corner of, like, the guy with the big belt. Because everyone is looking at this story from several different angles. And when you're seeing it from the angle that you want to force your audience into, then you have a complete other portion of the audience that's probably fucking paying that isn't getting what they want. And yun nga, you said, na-compromise yung nangyari sa Agnikay. Like, you are not thinking as much about the fact of what he did to Ozai. Like, he 30-year-old needs Ozai, you know? Like, I took away your bending. Yeah. And you're not thinking about that because now he kissed Katara. And
oh my god, oh I know. Shit.
Can you imagine how much we would have cared less that that Luke defeated the Empire if we just kissed Leia. He kissed Leia.
The three things that I've learned by watching Avatar: The Legend of Aang are the following. First, the importance of letting go. I strongly resonate with it because I am guilty of being overly attached to memories, emotions, and even to things. There's a lesson of letting go. Second, be empathetic and kind. Just not just to others, be kind to yourself, because oftentimes we tend to be too tough on ourselves. Just like Zuko finding honor, just like Azula being too tough on herself that she go cray cray. Be kind and empathetic to others. And of course, last one, have hope. As Zuko somehow had hope that he will find the Avatar, pero parang nope, it was like forever banishment nga kay Ozai. God dang.
Maybe the Avatar was the friends we made along the way.
See, yun yung main takeaway, man. Like, ang fucked up ng advice then from his dad. Like, find the Avatar. But we don't know if the Avatar is alive or what. So, the importance of letting go, be empathetic and kind, have hope, because TBH, to be honest, Avatar: The Legend of Aang is one of the best shows I've ever watched when I was a kid. Yeah. Wordplay. Sorry, I love wordplay. So. Next.
Who's next?
Sige, ako na lang kasi tawag dito. Para kayo yung ending. Key takeaways is, number one, Avatar will remain one of the best series. It's gonna remain one of the best shows that I've seen so far. And hopefully, if ever they decide to continue the story on a different arc, they give it justice. Kasi maski ako nakulangan ako dun sa ending. As a fan, medyo nakulangan ako dun sa ending nito. But the storyline itself is really good. Second one, takeaway is, for guys out there, Your hair is part of being mature or part of growing up. If your hair doesn't change, you're not growing up. Paano ko nasabi?
It's a
Magsasabi dyan ko. Magsabi si Ang nga kalmo yun. Ano ka, nagkabuhok si Ang. Nung final season, nagkabuhok si Ang. Kahit nga lang, pero nagkabuhok din siya. Si Zuko naging tonight will be the night that I would fall for your hairline, di ba? Si Sokka kahit pa paano, nakita ko yung lugay na Sokka. Kaso talagang tinali niya dahil appropriate daw for battle. But then again,
It's a wolf
you
tail.
know, and then, the first two are pretty much for comedy purposes. But the last one is really important. And I think everyone can agree na it's okay for you to create your own storylines on the story itself. No one will judge you. Again, everyone will definitely put some collaborative efforts to make it better or to put their ideas behind it. But then again, it's okay for you to form your own ending. Just let your imaginative drive be the ending for what you think is right. Tulad niya, Keijo, in the end or in her heart, Zuko and Kitara should have been the one that ended. Diba? Same goes for Seb. That's my takeaways for this episode. How about you, parang Seb? Huli na natin si dyan kasi
Yun.
tingin ko hanggang 3:30 tayo nito eh. Ah!
One key takeaway for me is like take it from someone who's been an asshole all his life. Like I've been the worst kind of person. Being alive is one of the key things to knowing that it's not too late. Like Zuko may not have, committed like a Vegeta level genocide before he turned good, but like he was a piece of shit. But he was a piece of shit, but he tried his best to not be the most massive one. If you have the opportunity to change, don't ever think it's too late for you to do so. It's so important for someone bad to believe that maybe there is room for redemption for you. Because some people out there might think that it's too late. It's really not. And I can, like most of the people that I used to bully back in high school all the way to adulthood, I have apologized to these people. And, a good number of them have forgiven me. And that is a grace afforded to me by people who don't have to. But, you have to live with the cards dealt to you. Like, every time. The bad things you do, it's not going to be erased. But like Zuko, if you take time within yourself to grow and the chance to put yourself out there to people who you don't know if they'll react well to you or not, you just have to do it. Taking accountability for what you've done, taking it on the chin if people will talk shit to you, even if you've genuinely changed. That's the accountability you have to take for yourself. But don't think that the shit you might receive after changing should be the thing that should stop you from doing that. Pull through with it. It's worth it. And in the darker times that we live in, it's not bad to take on the Aang mindset of believing that the greatest adversities can be overcome with hope, with the support of your friends, and with fighting a good fight. You don't have to play dirty. You don't have to be a piece of shit. You can be a good guy for the sake of doing things that are good. Two relatively long statements. You asked for 3, but I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Seb. Thank you. And now,
The start of the night.
What's up, Joe? It's okay.
Sakto may start doon sa name niyo.
It's sparkles. I like things that sparkle. Anyway, first thing is that I made notes. You are
Notes.
not notes. Is you are not what happened to you unless you let it. So you are not the awful things that were done unto you, and you don't have to be like this scarred, angry little boy forever. You can choose to move past it and become someone who has been transformed by it. You don't have to stay this victim. You don't have to stay in this mindset that you were wronged. You can be reborn into something new. You don't have to stay hurt. You can find a way to move past it. Second one is you can make your own family. That was one of the biggest things that Avatar itself taught me, is that you don't have to like rely on to the family that you were born into. You can make your own. You can your friends and your acquaintances, the people that have changed you in your life, they are also your family in a sense, and you are not alone. And you can make new friends, you can make new families every time, and you don't have to be stuck running away from every problem. And you always have these people in your life who will help you turn into the best possible version of you that you can be. A gang. And lastly is, I think, the biggest point why I'm so like attached to all of the characters and why I am so like protective of all of them is the same reason that I'm so like, I love people. I love people so much, is because you have to imagine people complexly. You have to imagine that they are not just this asshole from work. You have to imagine that they're not just this Karen who's having a really terrible day. You have to imagine that they had the past. They had all of these different things that they went through, all of these different things that they suffered from, that turned them into this person. And whether or not you want this person in your life is your decision. It's completely up to you. But you have to imagine that people are not two-dimensional archetypes that we imagine them to be. And a lot of the times their decisions have nothing to do with us. Like if somebody left you, there's a reason why they say it's not you, it's me. Because a lot of the time their decision is because of how they feel, and it has nothing at all to do with you. So, you got to imagine people complexly, the way you would imagine that Zuko is not the same little boy in book one as he is in book 3. Katara is not this weepy little girl who keeps complaining about her mom. She has gone through so much. She's this traumatized child who has grown strong and brave and will never ever turn her back on people who need her. So there's that layer as well. You got to imagine people with multitudes. You got to imagine every single person that they've ever been to get to the person that they are now, and everyone who they will become. Also, read and stream Ish.
Beautiful. Beautiful. My goodness. Thank you, Jonah.
Read and
Thank you,
stream
Jonah.
I'm Still Here on Spotify.
Right.
On
Oh,
AO.
this brings me to the next part. Where can we find you? And how can we support you? There we go.
Me. My Instagram is just my name. It's just Jonah Dayuta. But if you want to read the stories, you look for Owedbetter on AO3 or on Spotify, and you will find the I'm Still Here podcast. So all 10 hours of that show. There's also an original song that I co-wrote with my friend. And, go to Zutara OPM to go into our anniversary gig and hang out with us and talk Avatar and be nerds and have fun. Yeah. Read and stream Ish. Watch Haley Wong's animatic of that one scene in I'm Still Here.
Hey.
Haley Wong is incredible. I love you, Haley. You're great. Haley was an animator with Disney, and she created like an animation of part of the scene of my fic, and I love it. And
yeah.
Gosh darn.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Jonah. How about you, Seb? Is there any way we can support you or find you?
You can find me in your fucking closet, under your bed, in your deepest, darkest nightmares.
And in My Hero Academia.
Well, if ever I do come back to having my own fucking page, my Twitter is at Seb the Harmacist. And that is also my IG. So you can find me there being really cringe about ships. And
be cringe, at least you're free.
Yes, for now. Well, we can write shit. Yeah, you can find me there talking about all things pop culture, whether it's Critical Role or My Hero Academia or now Avatar. On Instagram, you could just kind of basically see me be a hand model taking a picture of my toys like this.
I mean, my Instagram is me like looking not at the camera.
My Instagram
that's
is...
most of the women I know. So.
Oh man! All right. So yeah, thank you, Seb. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please, I would be posting the links of how you can support Joe and Seb and Ses and I with our projects and all at Runaway Podcast. Thank you. So thank you guys for tuning in.
Ng laruan, ha? Pagawa kayo sa akin.
There we go. Yeah, thank you. So thank you for Runaway with the Runaway Podcast. We'll see you again next Friday. Thank you, runners. Good night. And that's it for this episode. Join the conversation every Friday at 10:30 p.m. PST on Facebook. To know more about wellness, listen to the rest of our content. Subscribe to the podcast, share the podcast, Runaway with Runaway Podcast.